Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys and girls, and welcome to this, another brand new day. On my lap, guess what? Nothing vile or horrendous, but I have a hamster, little dust mop. And it doesn't even look like a tourist, little Gazire, continued Betnira, slowly and inevitably. It looks like an upside-down pyramid. It did. And to be honest, that sort of worried little Gazire. Last time he'd been here, the torus had been a wildly undulating, galaxy-sized 11th dimensional vortex, and now, well, it was still as large as a major spiral galaxy, but it had reformed itself into a 12th dimensional inverted pyramid. Still, they were here now, and little Gazire wasn't going to back down in front of Betnira. "It'll be fine," said little Gazire, and moved toward the entrance. He's a sweetie. I fed my hamsters all this morning instead of last night. Oopsie, shedding bedding. And so they're all kind of awake, but he's really the only one that's awake-est and easier to reach. So I grabbed hold of him so that he could come up and say hi. And he's shedding this bedding that's all caught in his fur. I tried to pick it out. He's a cutie. He's still young. He's less than a year old, which means, he's approaching middle age. A year old is pretty much middle age for a hamster, unfortunately. So they age very quickly. They're like little candles that burn so brightly, so quickly. But such is life. Thumbs up for that. Last night, I did go walkies. I did the full 7-mile trip now. So it's getting to be more often, not frequent or often, just more often. I'm making the 7-mile trip instead of the 6-mile trip. I just have to head from my home to the top of Olympic Highway South and then take that to downtown, and that adds a full extra mile onto the whole trip. Definitely cool. So, thumbs up for that. Hopefully I'm going to stay healthy and alive for at least a few more years. A very good thing. I've been wandering through a million different ideas while walking. I went through and did work on mental work, of course, on stuff that there must have been about 5 or 6 different story ideas that I worked on. Didn't stick with one, just did a little bit of work on a whole bunch of things just for a while, and then flicked over and then started working on another one. Not so much because I wanted to get a lot of stuff done, just because as good as my memory and such is getting, it's not perfect yet. When I first started, well, not even when I first started, but when I moved in here and started going walkies from this house, as opposed to going walkies from my brother-in-law's garage, I would have maybe one thought and would cycle through just that one thought the entire walk that I was going, because I was unable to remember anything at all. I was just cycling the same thing, forget it, and then able to go through it again, and then forget it and go through it again. And while it wasn't the same as discovering it new the first time, having to remember it all and work on it that way was both rough and good, because it gave me something to think about. Just, I could only do the one thought. Now, I can, do one subject and then roam a whole bunch of thoughts in that subject and maintain them in my memory for when I get home. Not always, depending, short term versus long term. The longer you think about something, the greater the chance it's going to make it into long-term memory. Something that you think about just once and then it's gone, the chances of it making it into long-term memory, not so hot. But still. I've been thinking about a lot of things, a lot of different stories, so hopefully I'll be able to do something with them. A good thing. It's good to be creative no matter what. Even if you never do anything with your creative works, if you just write, or you paint, or you draw, or you whittle, or you build, or you paint figures, or whatever it is, whatever creative endeavor you do, it's good. It's a good thing. Don't look at your work and then say, gosh, no one would ever put this in a museum, or no one would ever buy this in a store. You're not doing it for that. You're doing it to get the creativity expressing through your body. And that's good. It is a very, very good thing. I mean, I even still struggle with that. That's part of living in a capitalistic society. That's part of living in a capitalistic culture. That's looking upon your works are only as good as what somebody else will pay you for them. And that's a capitalistic society, yes, but we don't have to always function that way. You can do things for your own fun, your own good, without worrying about anybody else or whether it's worth anything. Because after all, take a look at all the various art that goes on even today that continues to devalue art and creativity. Like the banana duct taped to a wall that sold for $120,000 in the United States. And then, of course, some jackass ripped the banana off the wall and ate it. So, thumbs up. But still, do what makes you happy, and that's good. Definitely a thumbs up. Past that, yesterday I was having some issues with falling asleep. I think, because remember, if a subject doesn't make it into long-term memory, it's almost impossible to remember because it hasn't made it into memory, and memory is physical. That's all your neurons and the things that they do. So I think I might have had some issues with falling asleep, not quite sure, but I went out walking at about 7-something, so possibly I didn't. That part of my evening is kind of a blur. But that's the way it's been getting, though, when it's been getting dark out there. When it starts getting dark and then becomes dark from about 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I just got getting really, that wasn't English again, at least not American, Earth English. So, I hate those sidetracks that just derail me entirely. I mean, I like the fact that I made a funny, but I hate the fact that by making the funny and drawing attention to my issues there, I have completely derailed and lost what I was talking about. So, darkness and getting tired. Oh, my brain. Still, it's getting better. Now that doesn't always happen, whereas I remember that happening. I remember my memory not working. I'm not quite sure your mind functions that way, but I know I used to have that sort of issue several times per video. So I continue to get better physically and mentally. And again, and I say this, if I can do it, because I'm nobody, I'm just a guy, 1 out of 8 billion with no real special physical talents, just a guy. And if I can do it, anybody can. Not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it may not be the hardest struggle in the whole world for you. But if I can do it, anybody can. You just got to keep clawing and never quit. That's one of the biggest things, which I see both the good and the bad of, because it's the good part about what I'm thinking of, and hopefully I'm going to get into words, is the whole, if you quit something, you will never win. Like, if you consider things as a race, as long as you're in the race, there's a possibility you can win. If you look like a YouTube career, as long as you're doing something, there's always a possibility it might break out because of luck, the algorithm, fickleness of the public, who knows? But if you quit, then it'll never do that. So I've tied it up, and I've said it on Twitter before with this, like, winners don't quit and quitters don't win. You drop out of the race, you're never going to cross the finish line. Conversely, there are people, and I don't know if you've known them, but personally, but I have seen documentaries and read articles and watched TV shows about someone who set their mind on something just like that and just said, I'm going to keep going because winners never quit and quitters never win. But they're the person that shouldn't have been in the race in the first place. Like they're the singer that can't sing, that can't. They've taken vocal training and they can't sing, but they never quit. Or they can't write, but they never stop. Can't act, and they're always in community theater. And everybody hates it when they show up because they can't act. So how can you really tell when it's winners never quit, quitters never win versus really you shouldn't have been in this race in the first place? And even that, because there are people that never should have been in the race in the first place. There are always a few of them that manage to either break the odds and become something or have been embraced ironically. So even being bad at something and never being able to learn doesn't mean you're not going to be able to go ahead with that. Thumbs up? The fickleness of human nature. But it's a good thing. It's good to be human. I enjoy being human. I enjoy being alive, and hopefully you enjoy being alive too. Nothing is always good all the time. There have been times, many times, that I have wished that this was just plain all over. You're never always going to feel good all the time. But even at those points when I was wishing for self-destruction, I never did anything about it. I never took any steps because I was always aware that just because it feels like that right now doesn't mean it's going to feel like this tomorrow. And so I am stubborn about certain things. I mean, I will continuously back off and cede ground on 99% of everything in my life when confronted. But there's that 1% of the time it's just like I got my back against the wall, and no, I bare my teeth and I bare my claws and I will attack. Not many, there are a few, so not quite sure why I had to bring that up. I can't even remember what the subject was. Welcome again to my mind. Of course, not always, but THC consumption can affect your short-term memory. 90% of the time it doesn't affect mine. About 8% of the time I've got minor issues. About 2% of the time it's affected me more than just pain control. And yeah, I got issues with my remembering what I was doing while I was having pain control. So occasionally there is that, because every time you see me on camera, I have either taken several hits of THC cannabis, THC cannabis, of course, same thing, THC concentrate out of my oil rig, or I'm using my old oil concentrates, yay, and there's been no budget weed available anywhere in town, so I haven't been able to take any good lungfuls of plant smoke, but it's either cannabis concentrate or actual cannabis bud I have filled myself up on every single time I turn on that webcam. So sometimes, yeah, if the cannabis really hits me, that's going to affect my memory as well. Now, I do not recommend that you use THC products in a state where it's not legal because it's not worth going to jail. Really, it's not. But if you're in a medical state or a recreational state, I'm in both recreational and medicinal, and it helps you, go for the gusto. But if you're not in a state or country or nation where it's safe, please do not. It is not worth going to jail. It is not worth prison, especially if you are a quote-unquote child. If your body is still developing, you want to not partake of cannabis products because admittedly only in a small number of people. But if schizophrenia is in your future and you are a teenager and you smoke cannabis products, instead of having your schizophrenia express when you're in your 20s, it expresses when you start smoking. And that does not give you the life experiences necessary to be able to deal with that. So, not trying to be a boomer when I say be careful with cannabis if you're young. It's because you don't want that schizophrenia to express early if it's going to happen to you anyway. Admitted, 1 or 2% of the population? But do you want to be that person? Ooh. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank 20 to 25 people for having left me a comment. Not reading the comments right now, just thanking people for having left me a comment. Thank you very, very much. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count in American Sign Language with my memory, I'm lucky I can remember that my name is not Rutherford P. Farquhar. So it's going to be a range of 20 to 25, even though I count and trying to get my hand aimed right in American Sign Language. Thumbs up for that. Let me call it my Chrome. We have Roner Tolo. Thank you very, very much. And Cats, am I right? Thumbs up and thank you. Haley Chavez, greatly appreciated. Ice Damon, thumbs up and thank you very much. Maria Oliveira, I sure hope I'm close. Thank you very much. Iris951, thumbs up and thank you. Nav SKRT, thank you very, very much. It is greatly appreciated. Confused Owl 29, thumbs up and thank you. Jack Johnson, Skate, SK8, thumbs up and thank you very, very much. And W Norman, 61, thumbs up and thank you. Ravens _ Desecration, I like that name, thumbs up and thank you. James Blazer, greatly appreciated. HATR, don't know if it's like 2 elements or your I don't know, but thank you very, very much. Hopefully I'm just pronouncing it properly. Russian Timing, greatly appreciated. And Kathy Kitscat, thumbs up and thank you. Asterisk, Starboy, asterisk, greatly appreciated. Vibes, greatly appreciated. Psychotil, thumbs up and thank you. We have Max the Homie, greatly appreciated. Batman Big Fan, thumbs up and thank you. Colin Reisenauer, greatly appreciated. Some3_1 ZZ, greatly appreciated. Then we have Lucifer, thumbs up and thank you. IPHXY, IFZ? Because the X, it's a really weird letter. It can be pronounced with both an X sound or a Z sound, depending on where it is, like the name Xerxes. So it's hard for me to pronounce. And last but not least, Mako134. Thumbs up and thank you all. Greatly appreciate it. You got a word lesson right in the middle of the greeting or the thanks there. So how about that? A 2-second, hey, the X is weird lesson. Thumbs up and thank you all. You get me out of my head, into the world, dealing with real people, and it is appreciated. And if you could check out my various links, I have Twitter, Facebook, GoFundMe, Patreon.com. If you could donate to my GoFundMe campaign or become a Patreon.com patron like one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be beautiful and awesome. I have gotten, it looks like, enough donations to bring me up to 0 in my checking. I don't know if I'm going to stay there. I have rotating bills with automatic withdrawal. But for right now, it looks like I'm up to 0. Thank you all so very, very much. Now, if you cannot donate or you simply do not donate, yeah, boom, boom. I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart, right without interest, so thank you very much. If you could toss me a like, I do appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. Definitely a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be very, very cool. Greatly appreciated. I would understand if you did not wish to, but if you are down with it, I will do my very best to keep you entertained from now until the literal, well, end of time. Thumbs up for that. Anyway, though, I got this video that you've been watching, hopefully, and another video I need to edit and render, another one to hopefully record, edit, and then render. Definitely a thumbs up. So you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, my friend, and that is a very good thing. Definitely a thumbs up. Keep smiling. It actually makes your brain feel better.